plemunji, 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 plemunji. Hi everyone, good afternoon. I am yours truly, Oy'Nissh Grandies, and today's vlog is coming to you from Little Friends Park in Edinburgh. So today's a foraging vlog because in a previous video during February I did a pre-spring vlog about wild leek, or in Oy'Nissh, plemunji, and the idea was to identify where wild leek could be found in this park. But now it's March and the wild garlic, the wild leek is coming into season. Some areas more than others. So I'm going to check in the previous area that I went to first, in the first video, and see how far the wild garlic has come. But just to check around to see where else we can find, I keep saying wild garlic, wild leek, to find where else I can find wild leek. Please note it's quite wet today. It's raining at the moment. Yep, it's wet, it's dreary, but nonetheless it doesn't deter me from investigating. So I'm going to take you on a journey. I'm going to go up this hill and into the potentially foraging ground. So journey along with me as we look for wild leek in the Little Friends Park. Now foraging season is well underway and it starts with wild leek and in some areas wild garlic, because there aren't any wild garlic in this area, but there are parts in East Lothian that you've got forageable ones at the moment. They tend to be better during mid to late March going into April because they become larger and near flowering. But at least with wild leek you can start to forage. Now as we're talking about wild leek or plemunji, here we go. As you can see, there's plenty to be seen. All the wild leek, look how green it is. All the wild leek. So it's just covering parts of the hillside. So even without going into the previous foraging area that I've shown you in the video, here along the path or the main road in this park, we can see wild leek right along the hillside. You tend to get that along hillside a lot, but also on the plain, you know. Look how green the hillside is. It's green side is. It's all wild leek. Let me see if I can take you. It's all wet and mushy. One need good foraging shoes for a time like this when it's all wet and mushy. But look at all the wild leek. Just so much of it. Look, it's everywhere. It's all grown. In some areas they get even taller. Let me show you. So these ones are even taller and almost ready to be foraged. Of course they're forageable at this stage. And those are the bulbs, the wild garlic bulbs, as we've seen plenty during the pre-spring video because they haven't fully grown. Here we've got the flowering one, the flower coming up, and wild garlic. Look how they carpeted the hillside, and there is more. So let's continue to that region and see if we can find some more. No, this is in Edinburgh. There's East and West Lothian and Mid Lothian too. And you can find wild leek everywhere, plemunjis everywhere. And I think they're a lot more resilient than wild garlic or plemunji. And you get a lot more of them. With the exception that wild garlic are larger. So you can, especially when they're fully grown, you can get one bunch full in a supermarket bag, plastic bag, easily. But with the, gosh, it's wet. I need to cross. Look, all waterworks. Yep, there we go. Yes, with the wild leek, they're smaller but plentiful and everywhere. So overall, there's just a lot more of the wild leek than there are wild garlic. But in this region, there aren't any wild garlic. So this is wild leek territory. So the idea now is to look maybe to on the way to that special ground that I'll show you to see if there are other areas that have wild leek. We've identified at the very beginning that there are some parts that have wild leek already, but I'm sure there's plenty more to be seen. As you can see in the distance, anytime you see in the distance a lot of green, it's not necessarily grass. At this time during spring, it's more likely wild leek. And what, as sometime when I'm vlogging, I always mention, what you cannot get sometimes is the smell of the environment, and that garlicky smell is what I can get at this time that you probably don't. But I'm sure for those who live in the Craigmillar area, this is normal for them when they go for walks. Look, there's a, in the previous video I didn't take in this area, but it's the same location but a different part of it. This is just a different section, and look how much wild leek there is. Plemunji everywhere. It's just covering the entire, this entire region. Wow. It's just and the main road to the Royal Infirmary Hospital is just over there. There's the path just on that side that we walk, the main road to the Royal Infirmary, and where I'm pointing is the Craigmillar Castle. So on that side of the road is the Craigmillar Castle Park. On that side of the road is Craigmillar Castle Park. On this side it's the Little France Park, and look, wild leek, so much of it. So much wild leek. It's wet, it's raining, but maybe that's why it's so lush. So much of it. So I've got myself a bag and a scissors, so I'm definitely going to get some wild leek. But what I want to do is to take you to the original place that I was first, to see what progress had been made, as opposed to the last time when I visited and the plants were quite young. Yes, so let's go through this woodland bit and back on the main path. So the funny thing is, there's a shortage of certain vegetables in the supermarket at the moment in the UK. Two thoughts are out there in the media. One, because of bad weather in Spain and northern Africa, where they would normally get things like tomato and etc. Because tomato is quite popular and so forth, right? These are great imports. The second, so because of the bad weather, there aren't much to be had in some of the supermarkets. They probably start to source it from elsewhere, and I can find some at the moment. But that's the general problem as it stands. But then second to this is because of the cost for British farmers to grow these products and what the supermarket was paying them, they tend not to grow as much. So sometimes there's a shortage on the British part of production, but also for people to harvest this stuff. So it leaves to question what alternative they are. Could it be that if there are edible stuff that are available in its natural environment, it will be just best to start making good recipes of them and adapt the diet to the natural environment instead of wholly depending on imported stuff? Not that it's not important, but especially when you've got plenty full seasonal stuff, you know, that it can act as an additional part of your diet instead of always depending on foreign stuff. So it means that some locals in the Craigmillar area near the castle sector can come and forage for some of this stuff. So I'll probably get some of the wild leek to make bread. I love to make bread with it, but soup too, so I can make available options of what you can do with wild leek. But let's take you into another area. So this is, look, wild leek. All you can see, all the green that you can see is wild. Look at it, so much wild leek. You see how green it is? That's all wild leek, you know. Look, it's carpeting the entire region. Look, wild leek. Wild leek. Sorry, the glass is taking water, so it's seem apparently blurry, but wild leek. It's the smell you can, it's the nice smell that you can get of the wild leek. Yeah. So yeah. So when I came here initially, you remember I took you to this area? When I took you here initially, the plants were very small. They were very small, but look how large they are now. Wild leek. Very good for stir fry veg. Look how large they are now. And the flower, some of them almost getting ready to flower, so that means those ones won't grow any taller. Look how lush it is. What a difference compared to the last time. And also I did a shoot near a tree where there was a cluster of small plants, and I was saying next time when it's spring I'll visit and see how large they get. So that was about maybe 4 weeks ago. So now I'm going to take you back to that tree to see how much they have grown. And so remember this tree? So this is the tree that I showed you when the plants were quite young. And look how they've grown. Look how lush this area is. This entire area is so lush. Look how thick too. Amazing, isn't it? It's just so amazing how 4 weeks have really transformed this region. Completely transformed it. And then beyond the fence, we also did a bit beyond the fence. So let's go beyond the fence and see what it looks like. See how much improvement has been made. in terms of the height. As you can, oh, it's all mushy, but welcome to Scotland. There we go. Okay. So, look at the difference. Just look how lush it is, huh? And it's so difficult to even think of seeing the wild leek bulbs at this stage because the leaves have completely hidden them. That you have to go below the surface to see if you can see the bulbs. I can't see any. They are there, it's just that I can't be bothered. There we go, there's a bulb. Let me see. See? Bulb. There we go. So it's there. It's just at this stage now they are quite covered. Sorry, every time I have to be cleaning the lens because the water droplet is blurring it. So what I am going to do is cut some of the wild leek to take with me. Let me see. So I'll have to put the head pro on so I can do some foraging, okay? So I'll be back. Okay, so I'm going to head off to do some foraging. I've got my bag, as you can see. I've got my bag here and I've got a scissors. It's always good to get a scissors because it means you can cut off essential bits without taking up the roots, and it's as clean as you can get it, so when you're washing it later it's a bit easier. So I've got the head pro on and I'm going through all this wetness. Well, I wouldn't say it's a disadvantage, all this. The fact that it's this wet, it's a good sign because it means that the place will remain lush. One lady I just met earlier on was saying this it seemed to be quite invasive as a plant to cover everywhere, but positively it does help to provide options for foraging so that many people can access it, especially the locals, so that's a plus. But it's about knowing what to forage for and how to prepare it. So wild leek is pretty much in the garlic family, allium family, with leek and wild. So wild leek is in allium family with wild garlic, onion, etc. It's like the onion family pretty much. And leek itself. So I'm here at this other part of the foraging ground. Why? Because I just find the plants here a lot larger. So I've got my bag. Yes. Hopefully, I see if I can put the camera down so you'll be able to see much better when I start cutting. Yes, so you want to get that nice garlicky smell, and you know you're in the right area. You get the same thing with wild garlic too, that smell. So here's this nice lush area, and I'll see if I can, let me put the camera down. Hopefully you're seeing it clearly. As I said, sometimes the rain sort of blur the camera. I did wipe it off earlier on. So as you can see, I cut at least the better portion off it so it's not all muddy. So later on, I still wash it, but it's not that difficult to clean. So I just cut down. Yeah. See? In the bag. I tend to always have like a white container, because for me it's easy when I lie them nicely in the white container. When I wash them, I can take them out nicely and wash them all long and in the same direction. So when I'm chopping it, it's easier. But a bag is just as good, because at least with a bag you can get a lot more, and there's just so much of it, you know, so much. Look. So there's just so much of it, and I don't even have to so much full the bag, because I can always come back and forage, you know. That's the beauty about it. So you don't have to go home with an entire bag full. For the sake of exercise and enjoying nature, you can just pick sufficient to last a day or two, and depending on your family size or your household size, and then that's you do the same for wild garlic. Nettle and ground elder are a different story, because with ground elder they're quite small and you have to bend a lot more, and it's a lot more complex to forage for ground elder. But like with these ones, it's just so nice and clean already. Well, not clean. Once it's out in the open, I don't regard them as clean. They're dirty, so they have to be washed. Even if they appear clean, you still need to wash them. Yeah. And then I try not to get these leaves in it, so just cut around. So it means later I don't have to be pulling them out of the batch that I've got. So there we go. What we've got so far, look. Yeah. There's just so much of it. So a scissors is quite handy when you're foraging for wild leek and garlic. I believe for foraging, even for nettle, a scissors just helps so much. Instead of pulling it and then having to uproot the bulbs also, which is handy for leaving in the ground for next year, the scissors just cut straight through the necessary bit that you need to eat and leave the rest in the ground. And it means now that they stay there for next year's crop. Please note also that as a forage in this region, predominantly this area is covered with the wild garlic, so it's a lot safer when you're foraging, because you know you're more likely to be getting wild garlic than any other thing. So always choose, when you're foraging for particular plants, choose areas where the plant is dominant, so you don't have to be worrying about taking up other plants that might not be edible. This is wild leek territory, or plemunji territory, so it's a lot safer this way. This should be sufficient. I don't need more than this, and because I can always come back at another time. Yeah, see, let me get two more bits, two more cuts. There we go. So now you see in my bag wild leek or plemunji from the Little France Park area. Okay, let me put away the scissors. Let me just put the scissors in the bag and head off. So that's that finish. Ooh. As you can see, it's very wet. And it's as if I haven't touched the wild garlic, the wild leek. I keep mixing the two of them sometime. Look, all the wild leek. Wow. So that concludes my wild leek. What I don't get is the smell. The smell. That nice vegetable smell. That nice fresh healthy organic. And the good thing is, that's the beauty about it, it's all organic, you know. It's not like it's been farmed and chemicals have been added to it. Although farming, you know, people are trying to improve farming so that food is available, fruit and veg are available on people's plates, so the quantity and quality of fruit and vegetables for consumption during each season in the UK improve. An example like this is one area we're in. It's 100% organic, untouched. The season just do its own thing to produce wild leek, ready to be eaten during March going into May. By May they would more likely be all flowered and dying off already, but at least from now until the end of April there are options available in terms of wild leek or plemunji. So this has been a successful forage, and just as predicted from the last video, that at this time, early to mid spring or early to mid March, there would have been wild leek available for foraging. And yes, here's a bag of evidence, you know. And this is just one area in Edinburgh. It's all over, and we haven't even talked about East, West or Midlothian yet, as opposed to even the rest of Scotland and England, Wales and Ireland, Northern Ireland, and even I want to believe that even Ireland would have had that same option, having the same climate, same environment. Yes, so I've got the Head Pro on. Hopefully it got all the relevant shot, but as I said, because it rains sometime, it becomes all watered. The water droplets tend to just fall on it, and it can probably blur the vision a bit, the view, and I have to be using my hand, which is already wet. Sorry for the, yeah, might have to edit this bit out, but you can see some of the challenges going out to vlog during foraging season when it's wet, early spring, because it is early spring. But it has been a successful campaign. I'm now by the Craigmillar Castle Park. I'm with the Craigmillar Castle up there, but I've got the wild, let me show you again. Here's the wild leek, all there. The scissors is there too, and it's all nice and clean because of our cut to ensure that it's not all muddy. So later on I'll try to make a bread out of it. Now there was a video I posted already on YouTube wherein I chopped the wild leek and incorporated into the flour, the strong bread flour, when I was making the mativna recipe. Yes, and I used the bread to make sandwiches, a vegan, a vegetarian, and a tuna sandwich to go with the beetroot soup that had nettle and ground elder in it. Now this time, what I plan to do is to now blend the wild leek this time, because now when I mix it with the flour, instead of you getting chops running through the flour, the hope is that you'll have the entire dough become green, and the objective is to have the bread itself be green. Now that would be a different contrast. So I'm hoping that it turns out good today. So when I go home, I'm going to start the preparation for the bread making, and I'll leave the recipe also online on YouTube, so you can have access to it for you to go foraging, but also the methodology of, you know, preparing the dough and all of that. So keep your fingers crossed, because I believe it's going to be a cracker. Hello. Or you can turn forage stuff in a weather like this. It's chucking down now. Oh my gosh. Am I going to be washed out? Look at my jacket. It's all wet. But that's Scotland. I'm not put off. This welcome to foraging. It's nature at its best. So I'll join you later when I start the video in terms of the preparation for making the bread. See you. God bless.